Well, thank you for indulging me for being a little bit late. I was enjoying the City of Campo Airport open house. Got a little excited with all the news I have up there. Okay, so I'm here to confirm that we have a quorum.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. If you can roll that up for me.
Edith, can you scroll for Susan? She doesn't have her iPad there.
Thank you. So I'll call the meeting to order, and I will acknowledge that we are in the traditional territory of the Likwito people. I'll look for a motion for adoption of the public agenda.
I think, Madam Chair, we want to add an in-camera session to the agenda.
Okay.
Not that I'm making that motion. Maybe Director Rice will make that.
Like to add an in-camera session?
Do we need a section, or at that point we'll just add it at the time?
Yeah, I think we'll do it at the time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Seconder? Thank you, Commissioner Dahl. All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. I will now, we'll have the adoption of the public agenda with the motion, with the addition.
I'll move that the agenda for the December 10th, 2025 regular meeting of the Strathcona Gardens Commission be adopted as presented.
Second.
And that includes the additional item. So all in favor? Any opposed? That's great. And I believe we now have our petitions and delegation section. So we have Maury Tyre ready. Thank you. And you're president of the Campo River Minor Hockey, and you're going to make a presentation. Do we have any introductory time constraints on this?
I don't think so. The board meeting's at 3 o'clock, so we got till 3 o'clock, I suppose.
So don't take till 3. We have other business, but I look forward to your presentation. Thank you.
First off, I'd like to thank the commission for meeting with us today. Myself, I'm the president of Campbell River Minor Hockey. Stuart Dumont, Sean is a past president. Sean Taylor is our present vice president. And Les Reddy and Brian Westorp, who are also part of the delegation, are both past presidents of Campbell River Minor Hockey. So when we're talking about Les was there from the ground floor when the Brenda Moore Arena was first opened. So one of the things we're basically here to discuss is just Campbell River Minor Hockey's concerns with the Recreate process and the project that has been chosen. We realize that has been chosen. There were times, obviously, going through the Recreate process and coming up to the AAP where I actually did my best to kind of silence our membership to allow the AAP process to continue as a proper vote. But that being said, it was also clear to my board and to my members that I would speak on their behalf at some point, which is what I'm doing today. So there is a PowerPoint, and I know there was actually, I think I was given a time limit, so the PowerPoint is not 60 slides long, and we shouldn't be here till 3. So presently, Campbell River Minor Hockey has approximately 600 registrants. We expect to go over 600 registrants very shortly with the conclusion of our first shift program, which has approximately 60 youth in it. And we typically get about 60% of our first shift youth actually register in Campbell River Minor Hockey following that. We represent approximately 400 families and grandparents and future members of the Campbell River Minor Hockey community. And then, yeah, wrong button. Yeah. Oh. I have to reach around Mr. Kerr, sorry. An overwhelming portion of our Campbell River Minor Hockey community does not support a 2-year shutdown. This is what I have been told by our membership. We do not support a 2-year shutdown of Rink 1, believing that it will have far-reaching effects on Campbell River Minor Hockey and a negative effect on players' development for the 600 young athletes that we presently represent. We are here to express their concerns and frustrations. In 2017 Recreate consultations, Campbell River Minor Hockey made it abundantly clear that they did not support a project that did not increase the amount of ice surfaces in the community. That comes from actually an email discussion that Mr. Dumont actually had at that time with the Recreate committee. In 2023, at Recreate meeting prior to the pool approval process, Campbell River Minor Hockey begrudgingly gave support to a Rink 1 retrofit after being advised it could be done with a 6-month shutdown. This is a far cry from the 18 to 22-month timeline, which could easily stretch longer. So why one surface? Sorry, did I do 2 slides? My apologies. No. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. We need to go, sorry, we can go forward, I think. No, can we, one more, please. Yep, thank you. So why one surface is not realistic for 2 years? Specifically, in primetime ice, Campbell River Minor Hockey has a serious deficit. So already we have house versus rep ice, so we run multiple different programs through Campbell River Minor Hockey. We run female hockey, so we run our Hurricanes programs, our Thais rep programs. We're also part of a zone program called the North Island Bears, which is shared with 3 other minor hockey associations as well. And we run, of course, our Thais program, which has been part of the community for many, many years. In recent years, the skate club has grown, which is we see as a positive thing, and it's also seen a significant increase in primetime ice usage as well, which means the primetime ice that maybe we had at one point has now actually, in some cases, gone to the skate club. That's understandable. Their membership has increased. That's not an issue with the skate club getting more ice, but that becomes an issue of there's only so much access for times of day that actually, in a sense, work for children. With our present numbers and teams and rep teams, we're already at a deficit in prime time and weekends. This also has no ice allotted to specialized development for 8 to 15-year-old specialized positions. So if we were to try and do any sort of specialized training for defensemen, for goalies, for centers, that kind of thing that we do actually need to use full ice to be able to do, we do not have the ice available to us in order to run those kind of programmings right now. So that's, again, this is just kind of where we're at right now. Can we go to the next slide, please? So due to ice limitations, Campbell River Minor Hockey already had to turn down assistance to the Salish Storm Indigenous Hockey Program for the 2025-2026 season. Again, that's a program that is run on the island that it's looking to expand. They were trying to specifically work with Homolko First Nations in this case to bring in a youth hockey program, but the need was actually for a certain timeline, either following school really was what they were looking for and what they were hoping for. We don't have ice. Campbell River Minor Hockey does not have ice immediately following school, and at present their Strathcona Garden Regional District programming, their skate club programming immediately following school. So there just isn't any primetime ice available for any extra programming at this point in time. Next slide, please. One of the things that came up, and of course this was part of the advertising campaign around the alternative approval process, is that we made it work through COVID. We made it work through the strike. We can make this work too. And yes, we did make it work. We burnt out huge amounts of volunteers in making it work. To make some of those things happen, we had some other agencies that were willing to help us out at that point. We were still able to operate during COVID, and that's the one thing we were able to do, which was a positive. We were able to operate for the most part during COVID. Just we weren't able to play games, right? And also adults were kept out of the stands, that kind of thing. But we were still able to get the kids on the ice and get their development done, that kind of component. And during the strike, we were able to get some assistance temporarily from Comox Valley Minor Hockey, who actually shared their specific ice times, not particularly the Comox Valley Regional District, but the Comox Valley Minor Hockey actually loaned us some ice at that point in time. We did have a couple parents specifically for for our hurricanes program that did use a couple weekends out at Gold River, and definitely had some concerns to share following that. They love the ice in Gold River, the weather on the way out there, and some other concerns are problematic. Thanks. So again, it's just going through it to understand that the strike's a significantly shorter shutdown, obviously, than what we're looking at, which is really a 2-year timeline. If we're talking about an 18 to 22 month shutdown of the Brindamore Arena, we are talking 2 full seasons of hockey and possibly leading into the start of a 3rd season. Which, in terms of a youth development over the course 2 years, depending when that happens for a youth, can be very, very significant in their development in hockey. So it's just, again, these are discussion points, and it's just something to keep in mind as we move forward. If we can go to the next slide, please. So obviously, these have been talked about. I actually had at one point a parent come to me and said, "Oh, well, I talked to someone and they said we've already secured all the ice we need from Comox Valley Regional District." And I said, "Really?" And they said, "Oh yeah." And I was told minor hockey has a contract with Comox Valley Regional District, and I said, "Well, I'm the head of the minor hockey association. We have no such agreement at this point in time with Comox Valley Regional District." And I have talked with the president of minor hockey down there, and he definitely is not in any sort of position to be able to share any ice over the next couple of years, like for a long-term scenario. Our concerns regarding Gold River. Highway 28 is in poor shape, and during winter months, it becomes increasingly dangerous. This is obviously, yes, we do have main roads takes care of that road, but we're talking in places where it's starting to separate and become even, which means there ends up being a lot of black ice and a lot of danger. So if you're transporting people back and forth on a regular basis, it highly increases your chance of some sort of major incident. Buses had been mentioned. My fear would honestly be a Humboldt, Saskatchewan level catastrophe. With some of the inclement weather that we do see along Highway 28. Practice in Gold River would make a 1-hour practice a 4-hour event minimum, and that's in good weather. So where you're talking about families and wellness of families, that becomes a very significant challenge. Regular poor weather means consistent practice cancellations or risking, again, that type of catastrophe. Visiting teams will not be willing to travel to Gold River. We've tried that a couple times when there was the strike. We couldn't get agreements for visiting teams to travel that far. And again, it had a lot to do with the highway. In the event of teams getting trapped there during weather, there are extremely limited options for overnight stays, right? So again, if you're taking 30 to 60 kids out to Gold River and you're expecting them to stay overnight, your options are not necessarily there. It also means that you have to have some sort of emergency plan in place to take care of those people, right? And that means feed them immediately and house them overnight. The next slide, please. I think so the one option, and this is one I haven't had an opportunity at this point to talk to folks from the base, because there is a 3rd sheet of ice obviously down in Comox Valley. That sheet does not belong to the regional district. It belongs to the base. Obviously, we see right now where the military is trying to ramp up and trying to increase numbers. They're also increasing their own programming on that rink. This is stuff that I do know right now. They're trying to add more sledge hockey, and they do right now lease a significant amount of that ice to Comox Valley Minor Hockey, specifically the female program for Comox Valley Minor Hockey. Next slide, please. Financially, and this is stuff that we've definitely heard. If we were to consider any sort of secondary ice surface during construction or anything, is obviously costs, and we do recognize that costs are part of the reality. Council Campbell River Minor Hockey receives a significant amount of its funding from hosting tournaments. For us, one rink equals no tournaments for 2 years. So that's roughly half of our approximately $600,000 operating budget comes from fundraising through tournaments. So that disappears for us for 2 years if we cannot operate. Campbell River Minor Hockey hosts between 10 to 12 tournaments a year. With a conservative estimate of losses of revenue over the 2 years of rink shutdown for the community and hotels, and this is going by approximately 60 hotel rooms per tournament, about 65 hotel rooms per tournament, and what people would eat. The community alone, the businesses in the community alone stand to lose approximately $350,000 a year for those 2 years of shutdown. Next slide. So we need more ice, not less, and we understand it costs more money to operate. So presently, Campbell River Minor Hockey spends approximately $220,000 a year on ice. We know it's heavily subsidized. Completely understand that, and completely understand the position that puts, the commission and the committee in as well. Campbell River Minor Hockey has been able to keep some of the lowest registration costs in the province. We know that ice fees could and would need to double if a new service was added. Ice fees could easily operate on a floating rate. This could also help increase revenues. So prime time rates and early morning and late night rates. So your prime time rates, realistically, when we are looking around the province right now, they can range, a prime time rate can range from anywhere from around $325 to $650 an hour per ice, with prime time being anywhere from about 4 o'clock till 9 o'clock. So we do recognize that there is definitely a position here where Campbell River Minor Hockey's and some of the other ice users, if we were to go down the path of more ice surfaces, would have to foot some of this bill for an extra ice surface. Cheapest rates, obviously, when you the cheapest rates increase by at least $100 an hour over our present rates. So, again, we also understand that even at our present rates, if it was to stay as a standard, that we'd probably see a doubling of our ice costs. So, where we would be looking at another $100 an hour for ice. So, these are just these are very, very basic. These are very, very basic concepts. So, just as a difference. So, concept one, because you're looking at the AAP money of approximately $57.1 million, you could build a twin rink, and that means it's an absolute basic ice box. So it is nothing. Like, it is nothing but 2 sheets of ice, and it is only 2 sheets of ice. You don't worry about stands, you don't worry about concessions or anything like that, and you can build that at approximately $45 million. Now, like I said, that is basic. Very, very basic. That's not, again, we're not putting in stands. We're not putting in anything fancy in a building like that at all. And that's actually going from companies that you can sit there and even go into online and check, and they'll push you quotes. Now, some of those would be affected by tariffs and stuff, and that was actually kind of included for a $45 million estimate. That would also leave $12.1 million to repair Rink 1 to functionality, depending on what you're wishing to do with Rink 1. So this solves the ice problem long term, and that leaves the community with 4 sheets of ice. But it does make expanding beyond the Junior A Tier 2, which we're presently in the community, unlikely, and it does not provide community event style building, right? So you're also not going to get your walking track option out of that. Concept 2, and this would be significantly more expensive. I'm not the estimate guy for this one by any stretch, I'll be honest. You do a basic junior rink project that can be modified later if funds exist. Designs are readily available. The reason why I say Alberni Valley multiplex style, this is a very, very basic 2,000-seat arena that are built. And you can attach a single icebox sheet with that, with the ability to expand at that location. You close Rink 1 permanently for ice sports, and you use that space for wellness activities. So that means you could actually turn the Rink 1 facility into inside. You take the boards out and you can use the concrete that's already in there and actually add rubberized flooring to do a walking track inside that building. Rink 2 remains for SRD programming, men's and women's and old-timer skate club, etc. This provides the junior A option to the community, and it also provides things like an event center for grads. Costs are going to be significantly more than the 57.1, but building basic first rather than luxurious, it does make it more feasible. And I think that's one of the things whenever we see a lot of these projects that do get listed, people always want the Taj Mahal. I don't think that's what we're looking for. It's that basic concept of providing what we need, and then if you can get corporate sponsors in there afterwards to add things like luxury boxes or anything like that, then you do it. But you do the basic box with the seats to actually run if it's the larger or the fancier team that you're looking for to host in a town like this. Next slide, please. So this, I don't know if the members of the committee did end up having a pre-look at the PowerPoint slides or anything like that. I was not part of the development of this. This is actually a website called ThinkRink, Rethinking Ice in Campbell River, that some people were involved with. It does do a small breakdown. It is very much circulating in the community right now, which I'm sure probably some people have already looked into in that manner. So I recognize, and I think this is the thing that I'll say the most, we're probably going to get one kick at the can at this, right? And my concern is that if we do go and spend $60 million on doing Rink 1, that's great. We have seating for 2,000 people or seating for 1,500 people and standing room for 400 people. But that does not cover long-term for our community needs, and a community that's growing over 1,000 people a year and has grown significantly since the Recreate process started. So that is the end of my presentation. I thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you very much for the presentation. If there are people here as part of the presentation, just go ahead and raise your hand so we can see who's here for part of the presentation. Awesome. Okay, great. I thought so. So I open up to the various commissioners if you have any questions, or do we want staff to have any questions or input at this point, or maybe commissioners can direct questions to staff?
Sure, that's probably the preference.
Okay, it's open. Yes, Commissioner Dahl.
Thanks for the presentation. I've heard more than enough from Les and Brian. But I'm wondering if staff have comments about some of the slides here that we've only been here, well, for most of us since 2022. And I've told Brian and Les that I think this project was due like 15 years ago. So sorry, but we're not the ones that made this problem. We're trying to fix the problem. But some of the information that was shared in the slides didn't match what we've been told in the short time that we've been here. So I thought maybe staff could address some things like the comments about the Comox Valley. I didn't realize that you're the ones that allocate all the ice time. I thought the staff were the ones that allocate ice time. So your presentation suggests that you're the ones that do it all. Is that the way it was meant to be presented? Because it sure came across to me as you're the ones that allocate ice time.
No, I should clarify. So when we are talking about a program such as the Salish Storm, came to us looking to get ice from us, which we did not have to offer them, and nor at that time, according to the ice layout and the scheduling, did that time exist. In terms of Comox Valley, so when we went down there during COVID, during the strike time, we borrowed specifically from their ice. So they get an allotted ice pool allowed by the Comox Valley Regional District. So that's when we're talking about what we are allotted. And then if some people will sometimes trying to borrow off of the actual associations.
Okay, so they weren't
I don't believe they were
Strathcona
misleading you.
Gardens and asking if there was available time. They came to a user group and asked if you had time you were willing to give up.
That's correct. I do believe they actually did go to
That's
Strathcona
good.
Gardens as well.
So maybe Robin could address the Comox Courtney ice time, and maybe Dave could address the timelines, because 6 months has never been something that has been suggested at the commission that I remember for sure.
So maybe I'll just go ahead of Robin here. So not trying to take away anything about the closure of the facility and the challenges that it presents. So totally respect that. But, you know, participating in one of the user groups meetings, issue came forward about communication in terms of how long the closure was going to be. And the meeting that Mr. Tyree is referencing in 223, the SRD hired an architect. We have an architectural team, and they came along with us and presented to. This slide was prepared by the architect in 2023 and presented to all the user groups. Excuse me. So I don't know where the 6 months came from, and there's been a lot of dialogue in terms of how I've communicated this. But this was a presentation from the architect to the user group, and it clearly states the project was going to be 18 to 24 months.
If I may respond. So I have had discussions with both women's hockey, who was at that meeting, Mr. Dumont, who was also at that meeting. I've talked to lacrosse, who was at that meeting. One of the things that happened, because I think at that time we were not happy with that approximate timeline, was what we were told was inside construction there could be mitigation where the actual rink portion could stay open while certain construction parts were done on the outside of the building and things like that. And then we were told that it would only be approximately 6 months while they did the roof portion. So that's what we were told at that time, because we had already shown that we were not happy with an 18-month to 24-month shutdown.
I can assure you what was presented on here would not have been amended. So it's 18 to 24 months. That's what's communicated, and I don't know what else to say about it. So the narrative that 6 months, there's just nothing tangible to connect that to. However, we presented this to the group. So I'm not trying to take away at all from the inconvenience and the challenges that would be associated with the closure, 18 months, 6 months, 24 months. But I don't think there's any value in trying to focus and go back in time and trying to create a narrative that says 6 months when staff can give you the presentations that were provided to the groups. It's always been 18 to 24 months. That's in front of you right here. I don't know what others suggest in that. Robin, you can speak to the ice time.
Thank you through the CAO and to the commissioners and the members of the quorum. We've been in talks with the CVRD. We've had several meetings and several communications through email. The discussion has been around how we would go about booking ice at the CVRD. They've committed to working with the base. It takes a bit of time to do that through Ottawa, and they're going to work on scenarios where they can move as much youth sport to the base to free up ice time. The expectation would be that if this did move forward, all the allocation would be done through the Campbell River allocation booking person at Strathcona Gardens. So there'd be one point of contact for the CVRD. They were just looking for timing. I'm not sure what the timing is, so we haven't flushed all the details out. They're not going to entertain any user group or individuals from Campbell River booking ice at the CVRD. It's all going to go through Strathcona Gardens, and then it would follow our allocation process. Those have been the communications with the CVRD. In Teams meetings, one-on-one conversations, and through email.
I got one more question.
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Dahl.
We scrap the whole plan and we do the operational upgrades to Rink 1. How long do we need to shut it down? Do you know?
Hadn't actually been told. I believe the operational upgrades would be at least 6 months, possibly a year.
Thanks.
Any other commissioners have questions? Yes, Commissioner Grenland.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Maury, for your presentation, and to the people who have come out today to support your stand, or minor hockey stand. Being a former ice coordinator with minor hockey, and I've said this before, there's all kinds of flexibility that can be made. In the day when children were on the ice for one game and one practice a week, we made things work. And I believe now there is children who are on the ice several times more than that in a week. So if and when this project or shutdown happens, I think there could be a lot of creativity to creating more even structure for playing members. The second thing I have is your presentation and your concepts 1 and 2. You put a dollar value on them. I'm not sure if that property is being donated. I don't know if anybody has a piece of property that they want to donate for 2 ice sheets, but I imagine if you're buying that piece of property, you're into the millions of dollars. So I don't think that is included in your estimates. So thank you very much for your presentation again, and we will see which direction we go. Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Rice.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to just say thank you to the previous comments. The regional district doesn't own any land, and this is a regional district project. So where in the world would that land come from? That has not been factored in. I did read the Think Rink website, and yes, presents a great idea with a third sheet of ice, but I have no idea how, given the current tax base, at least for my constituents, how we could even afford that. Already, looking at this phase of construction was going to make it very challenging for the folks in my community and the tax base that we have. And there's already considerable opposition to that amount. A third sheet of ice, how much more? I just don't see how that's possible. I understand the need and all of those things, but we also have to take a look at the fact that these are becoming big line items on our taxes. With we're into another 23 years on just the pool. So these are big items. So how in the world does the small tax base that Campbell River has and Area D have even start contemplating these things? And that's been part of the conversation that I see that's missing. It's great to put out a concept, but how does it all fall in place? I think right now, realistically, if you took a look at even if land could be secured, we're looking at 8 years down the road before this could even go out to an RFP, to get actual competitive quotes. And what's the construction costs 8 years from now? We know that everything is going up quite high. So again, interesting to know. I mean, I wasn't part of this in 2017, but I find it rather amazing that if 3 sheets of ice was the priority in 2017, how come that's the first that I'm hearing of it? Thank you.
Is there a reply you'd like to give to our commissioner?
Absolutely. There's a couple of replies. One, in terms of when we are talking about the flexibility for the athletes that are on the ice, over half of our association is already in a position where they do one practice and one game a week, and that is all they do. So it is our It's our rep-based athletes, or I guess your higher-end athletes that are on the ice significantly more than that. And myself, I have a plan A and I have a plan B, right? And that's the reality. For what if we are down to one rink, what we have to do with our athletes, and if we're at two rinks, what we're doing with our athletes. So just like yourselves, we're also in the kind of planning for two things, right? And that in itself, it's just like we talk about when we've had COVID shutdowns or strike shutdowns and things like that. It's burning out our volunteers because we're working on those things as well, right? Because we have to be ready for whichever concept does come. In terms of the property, I don't know how that can be fixed, unfortunately, and it is a problem because I can honestly say I was not part of the community in 2017, right? So I know those communications happened, but I didn't even live here. I moved here in 2018 from Prince Rupert, right? It's another mill town. It's another one that saw the exact same kind of things that this community saw, right? Which is a huge loss in its tax base when industry pulled out. The one thing that I think is probably the largest concern is as we do keep growing and and you talk about the timelines of an 8-year or 6-year, things like that, and I believe it actually went in my initial letter when I kind of posed it, and it went to some of the committee members that are here, because they're my city representatives, because I live in the city of Campbell River, and that's what's most concerning is that there doesn't seem to be a long-term plan, and that's where when we're looking at things getting tighter and tighter and tighter for those user groups, which are actually growing, they're not necessarily shrinking. That's that component of if we don't work towards a third sheet now or a fourth sheet or some other option, whether it's a public-private partnership, that it's actually going to chase people away from some of this programming, right? Which is actually has a significant benefit for the community as a whole.
Yes, the chair acknowledges Commissioner Dahl.
I have no problem recognizing that you have a deficit on ice. You need to recognize that we have a deficit of 15 years of being able to develop something. So for us to have a long-term plan when we're actually trying to start in 2010 here. And, Campbell River Minor Hockey is not the only one with their hand out. The community is growing. We need more RCMP officers. You might be aware of that. Or we might need more firemen. Those are two more hands that are out. And the hands don't stop. Minor soccer wants another field. There's a pile of people or groups that want more. At the same time, they don't want their taxes to go up because their salaries aren't going up to match that. So you need to understand that we're trying to fix 15-year-old problems here. We can't look 10 years down the road when we're 15 years behind. I don't play hockey. My kids don't play hockey. My grandkids don't play hockey. One might figure skate someday, but that's just the reality. My daughter did figure skate, and there was issues with getting ice time. I don't remember, 15 years ago. So, sorry that we can't deliver exactly what you want, but we are trying to do the best that we can, as quickly as we can. And if somebody comes up, yes, the Strathcona Gardens lot is about 8 acres. So if you can find 8 to 10 acres, that would be a step in the right direction. Because like Commissioner Rice said, 45 million, which is really low, and an amenity that will satisfy you, but no one else. You're asking the 38,000 people in Campbell River to build a facility that will satisfy the 400 families that play hockey. And there's no land there to build it on. But we'll see what we can figure out.
Yes, go ahead.
I do very much appreciate the issues that the city does have. I mean, and the regional district does have. And I think probably when it's kind of hard to encapsulate that in what I thought was going to be, I had 15 minutes for a slideshow. And it's, so I do understand that, right? And I do see my own personal property taxes go up every year and things like that. And I do, it's just like everybody, yes, everyone does have a handout. And at the same time, if people don't make their voices heard, right, they also can be a forgotten entity. So this is really, unfortunately, it's our opportunity to get our voice heard. I think that maybe it wasn't heard or it wasn't understood earlier in the process, and I think that's unfortunate.
Is there anything staff want to comment on when this actually started in process? Because the long-term planning range on this, if we start again, I'll be, 80 by the time this comes to fruition. What is the long sort of planning period for these things? Oh, and then Commissioner Kerr has a question.
Thank you, Chair. And I just wanted to say, going back when this all started, the business plan at the time was grant funding, and that was going to solve it. And, right from the very beginning, we were hoping, the shovel-ready project, we'd apply for a grant and either the federal or provincial government come through with the tens of millions of dollars and solve our problem for it. And I think that was the strategy, and that was the hope, that this wasn't going to raise the taxes in the community that much, but we were going to have this pearl of a facility with somebody else. Unfortunately, every community in Canada was looking for the same kind of funding and the same kind, and it doesn't make sense because there's only one taxpayer, and that's us. But I think that talking about how it all started and the dreams for a fantastic facility, it was all based on that premise, was that somebody else was going to pay for it.
So if I may, Madam Chair, just to kind of respond to your questions about additional comments. So I think there's a few things that are important here that I hope that people can appreciate and understand. This is really about expectations and money at the end of the day. So I'm hoping to change perspective on it. If any of you have looked at the agenda today, we have a report on there on facility costs. The regional district has been involved with quantity surveyors, architects, engineers for years in terms of recreation and cost. I can assure you what you see is a refined and accurate total of cost to build facilities in Western Canada. The costs that have been presented here, they don't include land cost escalation. Made a comment about shelf-ready designs. A design for a recreation facility is about $1.5 million. There's no such thing as shelf-ready. Nobody's giving you a design for that. These things cost millions of dollars. There's things called development cost charges, servicing costs, upgrades to the sewer and water for the city, roads, parking. I don't want the expectation of the group saying, hey, there's $57 million here. We can build 2 sheets of ice and renovate. There's no chance that's happening. When you add all the true costs in there, that cannot happen. And we have done our best to show folks through extensive research and experience, we got the cost of these facilities. You have the land costs. You need roads there. You need parking. You need sewer, water, utility, power upgrades to that area. for $45 million, you're not going to get that. That's just not possible. And I hope folks don't have that in their head. Public-private partnerships, when folks approach me with that, I say, can we talk in terms of donations? Recreation facilities anywhere in the country are money losers. There's no for-profit partnerships. You're looking for people to give you money, okay? The capital cost of them are high. Interest rates, operating costs, you're never going to recoup more than 20 cents on the dollar. These lose money. So when we talk in terms, it sounds great to say a public-private partnership. Who are those going to be? I mean, you're looking for somebody just to make a cash donation. Interest rates are high. Cost escalation is going, I mean, we're 50% more than pre-COVID on this stuff. So, I mean, we can all agree we want these things, but they're really expensive. And my hope is that you realize that what we have on the table, the 57, 60 million that we have, there's just no chance. We're acquiring another piece of land. We're servicing it. We got roads, power, DCC costs, parking, cost escalation, whatever interest rates are. Upgrading our current facility for that amount of money, it's just not possible. So I think the expectations of what we have here, we need to figure it out. I get that the closure is an issue to everybody. I'm not trying to take that away from anyone. But we constantly hear from folks that think they can do more with what we have. And it's just, we've got to be a leader in recreation in Strathcona Regional District with our current build of our pool, the activities that are going on, our relationships with architects, engineers, and surveyors in the industry of what costs are. And it's just, you're not going to get what you have on there for $45 million. That's just, so whatever we have to figure out, we can't come up with 2 sheets of ice and renovate the place for $45 million. There's no chance that's happening. And we can't say things like designs are cookie cutter shelf ready. There are millions of dollars to design the work in there. Like that's just not accurate. And operating costs are super high. You can't go to the city and say 45 million. Then the city may say, well, we need $5 million to upgrade the sewer and water and power to get there. Like that's another cost, and so on and so forth. So I get we have a challenge here, but let's just not pretend that we can get what we want for 45 million. That's just not possible.
So is there any further comments from the delegation or from the commissioners? So what I'm hearing is that it's the length of the shutdown that 2 years, potentially 3 years, is devastating. And I get that because I had a synchronized swim team that never survived the closing and refurbishment of the pool. So that was a loss to the community in terms of a club. I don't think that would necessarily happen to hockey, but I understand the very deep feeling with people and their children being involved in sports and where that leads them to the future. It gives them opportunities when they go off to university. It gives them the opportunities when they go anywhere else in the world to continue to be connected. I've had family that were in old-timers hockey as well as family members who are currently playing in the kids' leagues right now. So I get this deeply. If there was a way for us to, even with the city, look at alternate options to provide a very simple sheet of ice that would maybe only limit the closure to a year, potentially. I mean, you know the budget timelines. We're doing financial planning now, so the budget's almost set, so that puts you down another year. But what I really want to hear is solutions and options that could potentially mitigate some of these harms that come from losing a sheet for up to 2, potentially a little bit longer, depending on how it bridges the seasons. Our difficulty is that for years, no one was putting forward any funds. And the group we have here may not be here after October. And so it's a trigger date. There's dates that are approaching right now that we have to decide to commit. I'm going to encourage people to stay and listen to the staff report with regards to the update on where we are with the pool, because what's most impressed me is how well managed that project has been and then take into consideration the opportunity we have if we tie the ice sheet into that similar, potentially, we'd have to put it out for tender, same contractor system who's already familiar with the site, and some of the benefits we could see because we have a very good relationship and someone who's doing a really good job with our staff managing this construction. So I don't know if that creates any other questions from the commissioners, but I would invite people here who are interested to think about the mitigation strategies we can have. All the things that you're thinking about. I agree that the Gold River Highway is a difficult highway, yet for years, Wilson Transport managed to take a lot of people up to Myra Falls, and I don't know if there was many incidents there. So there's things I have some confidence in terms of movement of people. And using the Comox Valley, which I appreciate hearing from our senior manager, Mr. Kentrop, about, maybe helps you alleviate that. And I'm assuming there might be some openness from staff to make sure there's a communication channel for minor hockey to speak to staff. Is that true, Mr. Kentrop?
Well, my door's always open, and a lot of my cards go missing, so they've got my cell number and my email. But that is something that we can explore with the engineering team, because I do believe that the Recreate page has an area for feedback. So that's something that I can talk about with Wolfgang, the senior engineering manager, about.
Yes, thank you. And I'm not making a commitment on behalf of the city or anybody else, but, we blue sky sometimes the piece of property that we have that's currently being used by youth soccer that's close to the gardens, and whether there would be any possible way to add some temporary ice in there or some sort of facility. I don't know what the scale and cost would be, but those are the types of ideas, or if you can find someone who'd be a proponent to at least get something temporarily during that construction period. And I don't even know from staff how long that would take to do something. And it may not be worth it, because everything with government, if you do it quick, sometimes it turns out to be much more costly in the long run. So we have to be very cognizant of what we do with our taxpayer dollars. So I appreciate the presentation. It was helpful. Our doors are open. You can reach out to all of us commissioners or as city council members for the taxpayers. And I'm sure Mr. Rice is also available if anyone's in Area D. And we can continue working with our staff and hopefully find some sort of, resolution to mitigate as much as we can. I don't think we've made the final decision to move forward on the project at this point. Is that correct, staff?
Yeah, all we have is borrowing authority in place. We have a facility that's designed and looking for direction on next steps.
So does that help a little bit to know?
If I can respond. So, one of the things that did happen at the meeting in September before the AAP, I think it was when we said, okay, after the AAP, we're going to reach out and we'll start planning. And I think that was, we haven't heard since the AAP, right? And so that raises some concerns of the planning level of knowing what are our mitigation plans if this project does go forward. Obviously, knowing whether the project goes forward is extremely important to planning. And it is to every single group. Like, I'm speaking for minor hockey. Well, I also ref old timers. I play Pioneer League and everything like that. And that's that whole thing, is there are many, many more user groups than obviously the 400 families that are involved in minor hockey. But yeah, it's that, I think, keeping the information flowing that we need to know, because even when I'm sitting there right now, like, I have to have a meeting with the Comox Valley Regional District next week when we're talking about our zone teams, and that's with the regional district and their ice allocator, and then our zone program. We don't even know what we're going to be able to have any idea what we're going to be able to offer next year, because we don't know if our rink's even going to be open. So I don't even know if that program will operate next year. So that's just kind of the confusion aspect.
I see Mr. Kentrop giving me the eye, so he must have a comment.
So just as far as the meetings and the planning after the AAP, one of the challenges we have is that people at the CVRD are willing to put time in and work with us if we have a project and they have firm dates. So they're doing some high-level discussions to finalize any meetings with user groups and firm up what we can and cannot do, is going to need a decision based on whether we're moving forward or not to finalize that.
Is there one more thing, Mr. Leach? and then we
Just one more thing for clarity. When I hear terms of we haven't been communicated to, local government does nothing without direction of board. And we're transparent. Everything we have is an open session. Clearly, folks have been following the process here. Anything that happens out of this, and that's the only direction we take. So we're transparent. We're open government. If anyone wants to look at reports, watch the video, come to the meetings, it happens here. If it doesn't happen here, it doesn't happen.
Okay, I think we're done, and I appreciate the delegation. I think, like I said, you should stick around and listen to our staff report with respect to the swimming pool side. You're going to be impressed, I hope. I put them on the spot now. Thank you. A motion to receive.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you very much. You can always watch later. So now we're at the adoption of previous meeting minutes. I'll take a motion for the adoption of the October 22nd, 2025 minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Rice. Second. Thank you, Commissioner Dahl. All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Any business arising from those minutes? Any public considerations? I don't have a report. So we have the number one, which is the Recreate Aquatic Wellness Project construction update. So I'll take a motion that the report from the CEO be received.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Grunland. Commissioner Rice, all in favor? Oh, we want to have a report first? Yeah, okay, staff report.
Through the chair and the CAO, good afternoon, commissioners, and thank you for those ones who decided to stay to listen to this presentation about progress of work for the Recreate Aquatic and Wellness Project. I'm very pleased to share the following presentation, and since the last one that I did in October, we have made significant progress, and construction continues to advance on schedule. All major structural and pool related components, everything related to structural steel and concrete, those milestones have been achieved, and I'm very pleased to share this with all of you. We also remain aligned with the approved budget, so that's great news just to start this presentation. Next, please. Work is progressing across all key building zones of the project. We have crews working right now on the roof, lower and upper natatorium. We have crews working below the ceiling. We have people working on the deck and also on the technical corridor. Next, please. Everybody right now, we have approximately 50 to 80 people, and we anticipate that we're going to have at least 30 more coming up once we start all the tiling work, working on the leisure and the lab pool. Next, please. Hot and wellness pool. Next. And everything related to the change rooms in the east corridor of the facility being built. Next. So in this image, you can see the exterior work that is progressing. We have structural steel. We have steel stud being installed, and we have dense deck, that yellow panels that you see on the right side. On the background, you can see some of the insulated blankets that we're using to cover those spaces that are required in order to maintain the temperature and start with the next activity, which is big, and it's all related to the tiling. So in order to maintain temperature, we have to enclose that facility as soon as we can before the bad weather arrives. We can see in these photos taken from Pinecrest, the north aspect, we can steel stud being built as well to enclose the facility. On the right side, you can see the parapet on the higher roof as well being built around the perimeter of the building. Next. So 95% of the upper roof has been completed, and we anticipate that within the next 3 weeks, the lower roof will be done as well, and that's definitely helping to enclose the building. Next, please. On the left side, we have an image of how the roof is progressing under the above the change rooms. On the right, you can see the construction of the curbs that are going to support the air handling units for the project. Next. An engineering scaffolding system is being erected right now everywhere within the deck space, and this is just to provide safety to all the workers that are going to be working under the ceiling. They're going to be hanging all the acoustic panels, sound absorption, and all mechanical and electrical roofing. Next. A little bit about the sequence of how these builds are being built. To the left, you can see the trenching and pool piping system, drainage, and some of the fittings being installed. To the right, you can see that all the piping has been encased in concrete. And the reason to do this is to prevent any breaks into the future. You can see a mesh of reinforcing steel that is being there, that will attach to the slab on grade, so it will work monolithically. So basically, the slab on grade and all the piping will move at the same time in case of a seismic event. Next, please. On the left side, you can see that the first concrete pour conducted to the lab. There are 3 separate pours that were done to this project. On the right, you can see the entire slab and grade being poured, and these areas are getting ready to receive tiling. Next. To the left, you can see the access to the pool slide, as well the deck. This work has been completed. We'll definitely present better photos next time, or updated photos. To the right is the very complex system of piping in the leisure pool. Don't know if you can appreciate that, but all the drains, all the fittings, and all the different diameter pipes that are being installed. Next. To the left, all the piping has been encased. You can see the drains where the guy is standing right next to him. Those are the drains that are going to take all the water into the treatment system. To the right, that was taken this week, is the concrete pour to the leisure and the most complete pool because all the water features. Next. To the left is an image of the wellness pool. All the slab and grade has been completed, and to the right, we have the hot pool. We run into an issue where a field inspection was conducted by the mechanical engineer, and it was discovered that the hot pool jets were at the wrong elevation. This work is being rectified now, and it's not affecting the budget, neither the schedule. So with this, we reached the milestone of all 4 pools with a slab, all walls, slab and grade completed, and getting ready for the next activities related to finishes. Next. The sequence of work for the tiling work has been changed. Initially, what I presented a couple of months was we were to start with the hot pool. Now everything is going to change, and we're going to, all the tiling work is going to go on the lap pool first. Next, it will move to the wellness pool. Next, it continue to the hot pool. Next, and the last pool that is going to be tiled will be the leisure pool. Next. Work is progressing right now on the change rooms, and I'm just going to show you a few images next. Next. Thank you. So this is the work, concrete masonry units being installed on the change rooms. On the top, you can see those blue lines. It's all related to plumbing, water systems. We can see the black pipes. It's all sprinkler systems. On the right side is an image where all, like, everything related to all the plumbing fixtures are going to be located. So that's all the rough in right now going on. Next. This is a short video that showcases the work that is happening on the deck, and so no music this time. And I'm just to give you an idea of what's happening there. If you can please play it, thank you. Next. Works below grade, a technical corridor. You can see a significant amount of piping, all related to mechanical, electrical, pole system, sprinkler, HVAC. All these spaces are definitely filling very quickly. what used to look like a stadium now is very congested, and yeah, you can see the amount of pipes that on the left side, all the plumbing that is connecting into the change rooms above. And to the right, you can see in the background ductwork that is being installed and coordinated with other disciplines, but all related to sprinklers and other plumbing lines and poop lines. Next. So what I anticipate to come before I provide the next update, we have the roof construction and parapet will continue. I anticipate that this work will be completed before the year ends. Exterior wall construction will continue until February 2026. The scaffolding that is being erected will have to be completed within the next 2 weeks to allow the guys to work under the ceilings. The CMU walls construction continues on level 1. It's being finalized on all rooms in the technical corridor. Everything related to electrical, mechanical, and chemical rooms are done in the basement. All electrical, mechanical pool equipment in the technical corridor will continue for the next 6 months. We have the leisure pool roof-in, leisure pool roof-in for all the water features coming up, and that work will be completed within the next 4 weeks. And we're about to start the installation of the motor membranes and the testing that is being done for every of the pools to make sure that there are not any leaks before we start putting all the tile. Next slide, please. So the project remains on schedule, so we're doing well so far. The budget status, total project budget has approved was $69.8 million. We have a contract with Heatherbrae Builders for $61.3 million. To date, $28.5 million, which is the equivalent to approximately 43%, has been certified. We have a progress claim for all work completed in November for anticipated to $2.4 million is under review right now. We also have a contract with the Pride Consultant, ACMA, the architectural firm, and the engineering group, mechanical, electrical, civil, and other disciplines for $1.38, and we have processed or approved $709,000. We have as well owners consultants, everything related to testing agencies and funds that we are pulling for contingencies to pay for the change orders is $7.3 million. Today we have processed at $561,000. So total project expenditures paid today is 29.7, which is, yeah, like I mentioned, the equivalent to 43%. Next. 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 So just before I take your questions, and I just want to speak a little bit about quality. So the project engages a range of independent testing agencies. This ensures the quality across all major components, including the concrete, steel, roof assemblies, densities, and fire stopping penetrations. In addition, we have the architect and all the engineers doing field inspections and writing reports, and we're making sure that all deficiencies are rectified to make sure that it meets the requirements in the design. For safety remains a high priority for the project, not just for the facility users, patrons, but also for the construction workers. So we'll continue having weekly safety meetings and safety orientations for the new guys that are coming to the site. I'm very pleased to inform that today we don't have any safety incidents, so that's really positive for the project as well. When it comes to risks, we'll continue monitoring this to prevent that it affects the project schedule and the budget. This includes the supply chains delays, labor availability, weather impacts, design changes, and regulatory requirements. So there has been requests that I have seen lately in the project where they're suggesting to alternative products just because the ones that has been specified are not available. They're coming from the States and costing more money. So the architects and the engineers are looking into all this to make sure that these products that are being ask that, meet the requirements and hopefully get approved without delaying the project. So in summary, the project continues to move forward steadily with strong collaboration across the board, including managers and Strathcona Gardens. The regional district remains committed to delivering a high-quality facility that meets community needs on time and within budget. So with this, I conclude my presentation. I welcome your questions, and yeah.
Yes, CAO.
If I can, Madam Chair, and indulge me for 2 minutes, and I'm going to echo what you said to the group that was here for the arena before. I hope there's some appreciation once you watch this, the detail that's involved. An arena is no less complicated than building a swimming pool. And the detail involved with the location and height of every pipe, conduit, piece of rebar, it's really complex and expensive. So when we're looking at costing and people say, oh, geez, you can do it for $45 million, I really think there will be, and I hope you pass on to folks that you know, the appreciation for when, the comment was made that these are cookie cutters. Like, the architect engineer needs to detail every jet pump pipe to the millimeter, and the contractor has to execute that. There's no cookie cutter that's coming out for. It is. You're not going to get this facility or any of these facilities built as a cookie cutter. It costs a lot of money, and there's a lot of accountability to this, to both the contractor and the engineer and architect. So again, it's another aspect of the cost that this stuff's expensive, and I hope this is an appreciation when you look at the level of detail, what goes into it, because it's all about money, it's all about accountability.
Yes, thank you, CEO. Is there any questions from the commissioners on this or comments? Yes, Commissioner Dahl.
I got no questions, just one comment. It's great to see this continuing every time to be on budget and on time. I'm almost completely blown away.
I really appreciate that a comment. We're definitely working really hard, and I think the key here is collaboration, and that's definitely happening from day one.
And Commissioner Kerr?
Thank you, Chair. And I just want to echo that. I think all along from the first shovel in the ground, I've watched the attention to detail on this and on your reports and have been totally blown away. I mean, it is an incredible project, and I'm looking forward to it getting buttoned up and getting to walk around inside.
Yeah, just please let me know. You all are very welcome to visit the project whenever you want in early 2026.
So anything else? Okay, so Commissioner Gunman, you have a question or comment?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just a comment. Thank you again, Wolfgang, for your report and for keeping this project, as Commissioner Dahl said, on time and on budget. And when I'm home, I do tend to get up there once or twice a week and do a walkabout around the sidewalks, around the perimeter and through the building, the existing building, to what's going on outside there. And it's shaping up very nicely, and can't wait for spring.
Yes, excellent. I had similar comments, and it just sort of occurred to me that we have news reports out there for other facilities that are being built that have not seen this type of success. So my quick Google search on my phone was, there's several of them. We just had Courtney announce that they're going to pay $32.5 million to replace their outdoor pool, enlarge it and make it larger. Port Hardy had an initial estimate at $22.5 million for a facility, and it went up by 40% with inflationary issues. And the Crystal Pool in Victoria continues to suffer with all sorts of supply chain issues and cost overruns. So, and I'm just going to say, Mr. Yates whispered in my ear that potentially we're actually under budget, but you're being careful to mention that.
If I may, because I think this is linked to what's happening to the arena project, this is why it's so important to work with the construction manager and not just with the architects and the engineers and the QS, the quantity surveyor, who is a professional who understands how to estimate detailed design projects. But, that's the key, is to understand what's happening in the market, and I'm not surprised to hear that. And the arena project, when we work with the QS and the CM, we consider all these we have all this included in our budget that is being proposed there.
Well, excellent. Anything further before we make a vote on the motion? Okay, all in favor of receipt? Any opposed? That's carried. And a supplementary report motion, please.
So moved.
Second. Thank you, Commissioner Dahl. All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay, so we have another report from staff, and I think that was mentioned during the discussion with the delegation. So I'll take a motion that the report from the CAO be received regarding the Broad Brindamore, I believe it's called.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, if I may, just to be quick, because we're, running a little late on time here, is based on a lot of the feedback we were getting from, folks in the community and quoting, geez, you could build this, that, and the other. Not to mention, just for the commission's benefit of putting tangible projects that have ever been built or being built right now and putting cost towards that. I thought it was important to have that documented and so folks could see what these facilities are costing. And when you look at the last 10 that are either being built or have been built in the last handful of years, we're bang on the per square meter cost of these facilities. So what you see there, when you want to look at facilities, multiply it somewhere between 7,000 and 8,000 a square meter and you'll be bang on.
Any questions from commissioners? Right.
Not a question, just more of a comment. I think the one thing that struck quite hard for me when I looked at the report was that Vancouver Island is unique, that we only have X amount of contractors capable of doing the work. And it is what it is. It's a little bit different than, the mainland where, a contractor could be outside of the area and still be able to do the work. So I think that's something that is quite important. And again, living on an island, these are the things that we have to encounter when things go out for bid, that it's a limited number of companies that can actually respond to those bids and do the work.
Anything further from staff or commissioners? Okay, seeing none. All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. And then we're off to financial planning. Okay, a motion that the report from the CEO be received.
So moved.
And was that Commissioner Grunland who did the second? Okay, thank you.
I'm not gonna steal Mike's thunder, but this might not be thunder. It's more like maybe an electric shock or something. This is gonna be about as simple as it gets in terms of financial planning for Strathcona Gardens, because we've been working towards and planning for expansion of the facility. We've staged in the anticipated requisitions, and we've basically been holding status quo on the operations of the facility. So what you're going to see here is really simple in terms of interest rates have been in our favor here. I believe we were anticipating $75 to $80 as the second half of the commitment for the rec rate. With favorable interest rates, I think we're down to $59, Mike has, something close to that. And so what we're basically presenting to you is in the financial plan, do you want to hold tight with that contribution or take a pause on it, is really what this gets down to. I've probably just taken everything Mike had to say, so I apologize.
That was my punchline. I am a bit embarrassed. If I knew the presentations ahead of me, I would have brought more slides, but I only brought the one. So just a quick qualification here. This is kind of a working paper for the upcoming budget. The document that you received is not a commitment to any spending. It's just a working paper to help facilitate all the upcoming discussions. So it quotes a bunch of tax rates and everything else. All that is based off the prior year's assessment data. We don't have the new stuff yet. But we'll incorporate that when it gets released in January. It's a really good benefit to actually work off the old assessments because that takes that variable out of it. And what you're seeing over here is just a year-over-year change of costs. So I guess without further ado, this is my one slide. And like I say, I wish I had brought more. So this is just the relative change that we're looking at right now for tax. Of course, the green bar is the 2025 tax requisition. The blue bar is the proposed increase. And as Dave said, this is based off the business case. So the primary change is the business case, which originally priced out at $160 a home for their rec rate debt. We've recognized half of that last year for the increase. So we had about an $80 increase in the works just for the Recreate debt. But as Dave said, the interest rates worked in our favor. So, and we haven't locked in debt on phase 1 or phase 2 yet. So there's about a $300,000 savings in both those rates. So the jump you see here is primarily related to the just the debt. As far as regular operations, the very quick summary is there's a lot more detail in the book, but the gist of it is revenues are on budget, expenses were less than budget, so this drove up the surplus a bit. When surplus goes up, the pressure on the tax requisition goes down, so you're not seeing a very big increase in that regards. We are expecting some increased expenses next year. Just we do have the union negotiations, and there's some repairs and maintenance costs that we've included that kind of relate to the existing project. Like say repairs and maintenance and hydro has actually gone up a little bit. So we've offset those one-time increases with a one-time reserve transfer. So you're not seeing a very big jump as far as the base budget. Yeah, I think that's it. So next slide is questions, and like I say, next year I'll try and expand this out a bit.
So Mike's probably a little more humble than he needs to be. So, the 60 is obviously less than the 80, and the 80 was just capital borrowing. We've been the beneficiary of advantageous interest rates. So you're in essence seeing a zero operations increase and just have the $60, $59 in front of you. And I think just what we're looking for is some acknowledgement for when we get into 2026 and we get year to dates and we get new assessment rates, does the commission want us to hold those numbers in the budget? It's an option for you in terms of, like Mike says, when we build, we short-term borrow. So it's good to have the mortgage payment in it, but we don't need the full mortgage payment. So if the commission wanted to make a change to that, they're happy to do it. Won't really have any effect. Or you can, put the 60 in and we're done with it. And then every time the Bank of Canada meets, hope for lower interest rates because we keep benefiting from that.
Well, I'll open up to the commissioners to have that discussion so we can see what we recommend. Commissioner Dahl?
I'll start off by saying I'd recommend just leaving it in. It's just for the preliminary, so when we take it to the budget in 2026, then we would make the final decision. But I think that it's a good idea.
Anything, Commissioner Kerr?
Thank you, Chair. And I'd say, yeah, it's a good working number. Just leave it in.
Anyone else? Okay, not hearing anything further. No one? Oh, Commissioner Rice, good.
I would have liked to have seen it out, but that was just me.
Maybe, I just want to be clear here. That 60 is now the extra because of phase 2, is that correct?
Yeah, 60 covers the mortgage payment, if you will, on the borrowing for the additional 60.
So we've already embedded in the pool. The pool's done.
Pool's done, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is just going forward.
Yeah, and who knows as we inch forward, that is, hopefully interest rates can keep coming down because as Mike said, we haven't locked into long-term borrowing as that. So, I think the 59 is even a worst case that it should creep down a little bit because we'll benefit from lower interest rates than we anticipated for the pool because those are coming down. And if rates keep coming down, we'll just keep benefiting from that.
So my only wish is when we get into more detailed financial planning, we have maybe a couple scenarios to look at in terms of whether we go with 0 or 50%, like we've done that the first year with the pool.
We can certainly do that. Just setting expectations, it's really simple. Like from us, this money is to provide for the debt payment. That's it. Operations, we're good. So, again, you build, you short-term borrow, you don't lock in till the thing's done. So we won't have a big song and dance for you. It can be, anywhere from $1 to $59. It just, how quickly do you want to get there and put it behind you? There's nothing too complex because it's all tied to the borrowing.
Yeah, and it's relatively short time frame potentially. I mean, I know that Councillor Lanyon has mentioned that if you hold on to reserves too long, you have almost a loss in terms of taxpayer ability to pay because of the inflationary costs relative to your ability to earn money on those reserves. But, you know, we're not talking about a long time frame here.
No, just to give you an idea, what we do right now is the money we have in reserves, instead of paying interest on the debt on that, we bleed that money out. And then when we're bled out of that, then we start using our short-term borrowing money, and you only pay interest on what you've borrowed, so it creeps up. And then once you've got the last nail in your building, you lock in and say we need X amount of money and see what the best rate is for that. So the way things are trending, it's good. You know, it's really good timing for the facility too, that we don't have to lock in now. And now it's like, when do you want to put that mortgage payment behind you? You can, again, put it behind you tomorrow. You can put half of it, $20 for it, because we won't need the full mortgage payment for some time.
So I think that's enough discussion. All in favor of receipt? Any opposed? That's carried. Now we have some correspondence. Can I get a motion that the November 24th, 2025 news clipping regarding the replacement of the court in the outdoor swimming pool be received?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Rice. Commissioner Grenland? Any discussion on this?
Well, if I may, Madam Chair, you kind of let the cat out of the bag, but when I saw this, I think I circulated to everyone around. As we've just seen, we have quite a complex, because it's not just a pool, it's other amenities within the facility, indoor, everything, and we're at 60 million, and this is, from what I understand, maybe doubling the size of an outdoor pool at 32 to 38. Holy smokes.
Go ahead, Commissioner Rice.
Thank you. The reason that I asked to have this put on the agenda is actually for another reason. One, certainly highlights the cost, but I thought what was quite interesting is how confident the mayor was that this was going to be something that was going to be funded through the regional district. What a concept.
Yeah, that's, yes, because they're going to have to borrow funding, and that borrowing is going to come from the city or the regional district. But yeah, they're trying to turn that lens into the regional district, yeah.
Commissioner Dahl?
This mayor would be just as confident that it wouldn't be funded by the regional district.
Any further? Yeah, go ahead if you want to.
No, but it should, or else the city could fund it if they wanted. But.
Okay, all in favor of receipt? Any opposed? That's great. I don't think we have any commissioner reports, do we? We have to go in camera. Do we have a section under the community charter?
I don't know.
We need one, don't we?
Yeah,
I'm going to wait to see what my corporate officer tells us. Is that the motion, Commissioner Dahl, to move in camera to 91K and potentially 91I? Apparently our corporate officer might be concerned.
I would go with Director Dahl. I think he knows the subject matter in Tom's defense better.
So is that your motion? Okay, who's our seconder?
Second.
Oh, thank you, Commissioner Rice. All in favor? Okay, I guess we're going to close down the room.
Gonna have to ask folks from the public to leave.